Let's start this video at the VHS's and go, look, all the way down there. Mimic. Okay. Hello. So you've seen the start of this video and you probably realise it's got something to do with Mimic because of the title on YouTube. So it's not like, surprise, is it? No. It was bugging us for a while. Why Mimic looked so familiar, and obviously it's right at the bottom of the bookcase, so you need to kind of understand why I won't pull that VHS out with it being a back facing one, and the whole like, well, I took the VHSs and built it into a wardrobe, so you can't just start, you know, jingering it. You can with some, but not when it's at the back. Anyway, Mimic. Now, for some reason, you know, got this urge about a week or so ago to watch Mimic. Now I don't know why, right? Really don't know why. Me and Britt have been watching a lot of New York films because we're headed to New York next year. And, you know, I believe Mimic is a New York film. Anyway, I came in here and it wasn't to watch the movie. It was to listen to the audio commentary. And I felt drawn to this, right? And I don't know why. Now I picked Mimic up a couple of years ago from work, and the commentary does have Del Toro talking, and again, with it not being his native language, he speaks very clear and very, very interesting commentary guy. And obviously he's went on to direct a lot of movies. Now I remember when Mimic came out, the VHS cover, the girl and the guy, who I don't think I've seen anything there. Josh Brolin is in this movie as well. It doesn't really hammer home the additional cast in this. You know, Josh Brolin was still trying to find his feet and stuff like Hollow Man at this point. And I remember seeing Mimic when it first came out. And I took that in, right? So, fast forward ahead, you know, it's never been my go-to kind of movie. It was there and I picked it up. The director's cut. And yeah, commentary, making of, shooting, Mimic, deleted scenes and stuff like that. And it's got Stargate in it. So obviously I went from watching Stargate to Mimic. But I think what's really important here, director's cut. Now it kind of looks like the alien egg on the front. Obviously they've lost the two actors on the front cover, so the egg, does it lure you in to see what it is? Is it a good cover? Because I tell you what, there is some absolute startling imagery in this. Now I've learnt a lot from the commentary, and I've learnt that, you know, obviously Seven, you know, they had a very similar tone to Seven, which they had to try and pull away from, hence the coming out after Seven, especially with the intro credits and stuff like that. I like the idea of like there being an outbreak. Obviously we've had something like that recently with COVID, but the pathogen and stuff like this, then obviously it is a New York film. You know, the idea of creating a bug, then years later the bug becoming something like of a spook kind of creeping around, and it's very sinister. And I, like, coming off what I know about the commentary track, Del Toro went back and he stripped that to shit. Less jump scares, more scenes. He gets rid of all the second unit stuff. You know, he talks very openly on the commentary track. And I've listened to a few of his commentary tracks. Like, I think he does one for Hellboy. And I still think it's a shame that he never could make Hellboy free, his own little trilogy. Now, I wasn't too fond of stuff like Crimson Peak, but obviously he went on to do Blade 2 as well. But Mimic was kind of like revisiting it. It's a great film. I really enjoyed it. So I listened to the commentary twice, 2 nights, fell asleep, then went back and watched it. And like, this movie carries a very dark tone, and I think it's kind of like, it's very claustrophobic. The imagery is startling, and the way he uses the shadows, the way he uses the insects, the mimics, like, you kind of always feel like you're watching every frame to see where it is. The CGI, yeah, it is a little bit, you know, again, if you look, it's not too long after Relic, really, is it? It's in the same era where it is pretty dark. I remember talking to Paul Ray, my friend, about it. He went, could you still see it? So again, when thinking in that thing, it was ridiculously dark on VHS. So with this, it's kind of like, you know, it doesn't need jump scares. I think the tone there, you know, is believable. I mean, Del Toro talks about it in his commentary track that someone who does biology and stuff like that had used Mimic as correct procedure and correct pathogen of how a bug and how this could actually happen. So it's not out of the world of like real fantasy. There's a lot of, he has done his research in this, and again, you've got to remember, coming off the back end of Devil's Backbone and stuff like that, he's still new to the game, especially coming across to America. And if you look at other directors at that time, like Richard Stanley, tried to go across, Anderson and stuff like that, these directors who are coming into America, and you know, that kind of seemed to be the thing there. And to take something that is unknown and build it from a short story as well. And again, you're watching the movie, and if you're watching this now, hopefully you've seen it, so I'm not going to spoil it, but like it doesn't have many happy endings for characters. It's not like it's normally the rule that you don't kill kids in movies or kill dogs. And he's not afraid to go there, but I think the killings are just justified. It's all like, oh, he got away. It's like a cliche. It's just like, fucking hell, it's dead. The old man who goes looking for his child who's went missing, funny shoes with his spoons, to have him butchered in front of the kid after he finally finds him. You don't see that coming. Josh Brolin, his role fortunately got shorter and shorter. And just like the idea of just getting out there, and it gets, you know, it's brutal, it's, you know, it screams a little Ghostbusters 2 with them being in the tunnels and stuff like that of New York, and then literally the explosion at the end, like when the manhole cover comes down on the car, you feel the impact of the sound and stuff like that. So again, I'd watched it, ended up watching Deep Blue Sea last night because I ran out of stuff to watch on it, and that was the other night. Now, done, right? Now, being a massive collector of scores and like an eerie, dark, creepy music, I instantly looked, and I remember Mimic being Record Store Day last year, and not being fussed. Today I hit Newcastle, and there's been a bit of a weird shift. Every time I go to Newcastle, Vinyl Guru is never open. You know, I always want to go back to Vinyl Guru. Didn't get across to Beatdown. Beyond Vinyl's moved. And went to Windows. Now, I went to Windows in an open mind that Brit said, oh, it's your birthday tomorrow, like when I'm filming this. Oh, just pick something. And like, well, I'm not going to pick something just for picking something. And there's a funny story, I'll explain the outtakes, what happened with that. But, you know, we got to Windows, and boom, there it was. Now, Windows is weirdly changed, so they had some stuff in the sale. But here it is, it was Mimic on vinyl. So obviously this was Record Day last year, and it's exactly that. Now another thing, the face, the Mimic, the creepiness of it, the putting the Polaroids together. Now this is going to open up. Paid £29 for this. I bought it, Britain didn't buy me some. First time on LP, green pressing, fold out jacket, and then a panel. So again, let's have a look. So again, sat on the shelf. Windows is notoriously known for being quite expensive, I'm not going to lie, but they are good for getting good soundtracks in. I had been looking at the Child's Play, the one where Bears did the music from the remake. Although the film's a bit pants, the score is sinister, creepy, and it was 50 quid for a while. And as I said, they moved stuff around, and it wasn't there anymore. So look at that. So first off, boom. That was shockingly done. Hang on, back to there. Boom. Did that real because the light's right there reflecting it. That is absolutely brilliant. It's a very sinister and well designed cover, that. Yeah. Creepy. Now it doesn't open at the side, so again this is something in graphic design back in school, you're like, right, can you do that? So this would have been an absolute custom job from the ground up. Warrants that. That is just class. It's only one vinyl. One of the greatest scenes in the movie as well, the creepiness of the stalkation. As I say, it's one of the great things about the movie. Inside, it's got it out. No DLC, but nice green inside as well. So all around, amazingly packaged. Wax on all the credits of the symphony score, which is really good if you're a part of it to get your thing there. Got the actors all on there. Young Josh Brolin, not as young as the Goonies. And inside, it's really dark green vinyl. That's really, I mean, it's cool. Maybe's opted how green they went with the cover to maybe have a black splatter vinyl, I would have said. Or maybe it's what they did with like the fog. But as I say, I like the music. I was willing looking for like 45 quid on Easy. And when it popped up on some of the record stores that it still had, and all eBay prices, that's absolutely through the roof. So I did pick some other stuff up, so I'll see you in the outtakes. Hello, in the outtakes. So I'm not going to show it in this video, again check out the channel, but I'd opted not to buy anything in Newcastle, and then we've ended up coming home with a Last Ronin armoured figure, which we found on Facebook Marketplace. So random. So random. But Brit did buy me something today. She bought me 2 t-shirts. A guy says he got them sent to him by mistake, and I was like, no shit. Like, everything you're selling's banned. And technically, he is a magician. Magician? Magic. You know. Well, bang, there's a dinosaur. But musician. Lost me trail of thought. I got 2 t-shirts for £20. It kind of literally bootlegged, you know, printed on there, probably not official, but for £10 I got them in triple XL, because I shrink t-shirts like fucking Rick Moranis does. Look at that. So I've got Escape from New York, Call Me Snake. I was just going to get the one, it's huge, but I want a big baggy t-shirt. And then this one caught my eye, it's the same, Escape from New York. Obviously this is like the vinyl cover. The original vinyl cover, some original artwork as well, on red, but again they're huge. But I kind of hate buying t-shirts like this one, Jeff Hardy t-shirt for example. This is an XL, and it literally, they're just not long enough. I know that's got nothing to do with Mimic at all. Well, there's a book about the land from Worm here, illustration by John Henderson. Yeah, Lamp of Worm comes to eat your sheep. Welcome to Lonely Tree Entertainment. Thanks for watching this. Goodbye for now.